Hey everybody, welcome back to the JD Show. I have a very special guest for you guys here today. Serial entrepreneur, angel investor, billionaire, Bernard. Thank you so much for
Hi,
coming on
thank you for
today.
having me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, brother. I appreciate you hosting us in your beautiful home here in Beverly
Okay.
Hills. Why don't you go ahead, give yourself a proper introduction for the audience?
Hi, I'm Bernard Chong. I'm an angel investor and a serial entrepreneur. I'm in the industry of retail, construction, tech platform, animation studio, uh, retail, and we have an esports team also that won world champion for the Philippines,
So a
Asia.
very broad resume. What got you started into the life that you live?
Well, it helps that I grew up from a family business. We have a shoe company in Manila, and when I was born, the company was already there. So my background was actually in retail business, and we own World Balance. It's the #1 shoe brand in Philippines, and as my father and mother raised me, I see them working the office, doing the sales, and making sure that the business grow and expand. And I heard the stories of, we were successful, and through our growth, we have challenges, and we have our failures too, and challenges. So that wisdom I get to see when I was young. So it fast forwarded my outset out view of business and experience.
Amazing. So you started in Manila.
Yeah.
So that's all the way across the world. Like, what brought you to LA?
Well, I feel like LA or USA, the growth ceiling is higher than Manila. It's a good place to make business, but the ceiling of having a business in Manila is somewhat, lower than the ceiling of doing business in USA. So I feel like I wanna try my time here in USA and see how far I can grow the business.
Makes sense. So back to starting in Manila, what was like your first company that actually ended up becoming a success?
There's a lot of company that I did came to success, but it was through time. So I started a lot of company, but most companies didn't became successful until it reached 5, 7 years timeline. So I guess it's part of the equation where if you did a business and you make a sale, then you make a sale, you make money, but it's not success. Success if it's through time and then you're still there and you're still making money, then that's success. So far, we had a radio station, we have a coffee shop, we have some restaurant businesses, an animation studio, and other a construction business. So all these things, it took time. So now that you ask me, how did it become successful or were they successful? I could say because I'm in a 20-year experience already that they live long enough that year that their success considered. All the employees that were given provided for the families, but I had a lot of failures too. I got a lot of people who who duped me, people who took advantage of it. I got wrong decisions too. I have my share of losses too. It's not all success.
Right. Now, I think that's something most people don't comprehend when it comes to very successful figures like yourself is every single successful person out there has come across a multitude of failures in their time. Like, I am still very young. I'm turning 29 next month, but I served a very long time in the Marine Corps. And I was a Force Reconnaissance Marine, Special Operations, but it took me a long time to get to that point. I myself, just in my military career, experienced failure time and time again. And it actually developed a mindset within me to be hardened to failure, where I no longer look as failure as actually failing. It's just a stepping stone to achieve success. So I'm very curious as to how you've dealt with failure in your time coming up and how you're able to reflect upon those failures and kind of shed some light on it to people who are watching who want to become something incredible. I think it's very interesting how you've lived your life so far. So maybe you can help some people out by simply talking about those things.
Okay. Uh, Often, failure is because you didn't complete the required task or your expectations wasn't met. And from this, when you see it, you will understand and you will analyze why it happened. And often, it's because you don't have the right people with you and you don't have the right plan. I think if you surround yourself with right people and you have the right plan, you execute it, of course, not be sleeping, then you will become successful, or at least you have the output of what you want. Okay? So again, you must be surrounded with the right people in according to your plan. So that's one thing. And it's very, when you're young and doing something, you don't get it to do it right the first time, but that's normal. That's how you learn and that's how you wisen up. Now, sometimes you may get advisors, they tell you stuff, but I really believe all successful people have gone through some kind of failure in a way, because that's how you wisen up.
Right. No, absolutely. Like learning from failure is probably one of the best ways to learn. And that's not just applied to business too. It applies to your personal life. Like just from me being married a long time ago, I learned a lot from that failed relationship, and I'm able to apply it into healthy relationships today. Same thing with business. So yeah, I totally resonate with all of that.
I can also, so right people, right? When you make a plan, make sure the plan is complete, not shallow plan. So the plan must be as detailed as you can. Like, I always like the example of growing a plant or a tree where you think it's just soil, sunlight, and seed. But it's the composition of the soil, it's the temperature of the weather, it's the sunlight, the seeds, and the insects there too. So what I'm saying is, if you have a plan, make sure you complete it with everything. Something that you will really pay dearly. If you didn't plan a complete plan, then you will not succeed, because it takes the completion of seeing everything, like seeing the forest and the trees at the same time.
Makes
Then you can
sense.
make a decision in accordance to the expectation that you want, because you didn't miss anything.
Right. Now, you'd mentioned cultivating a team essentially.
Yes.
So I'm wondering how you're able to pick out the people that you chose to work with in the beginning. And are those people still with you today?
Uh, Not all people are with me today, but that's because my journey changes from, like, before this is the goal, and then you succeeded with the same goal, and the next time you say, I want to climb out higher. It's like, let's say, climbing a mountain. And some are people just up to the mid-level and say, like, I like to climb with you. But when you reach the mid-level and say, I want to climb high, and some people don't want to risk it anymore, so they're not with me. But that's understandable. It's not success or failure. It's because they don't want to do that journey with you. As long as you align the conversation and you're aligned with the goals, that's okay. And if it's not the right fit people, it's also useless or time waste to force them to join you. Like, if you're gonna do something, like, for example, climbing something very high, you don't want clumsy people to be with you. If they're clumsy and you say, hey, stay down, yeah, you're not with me, you'll just jeopardize the team. Just an example. So, as my journey in life, not there are certain climb or certain goals that I go through that I'm with them, but there will be higher goals that some people they're not meant to, for that challenges.
That's very valid. And even in my own personal experience, I'm new to business. I'm still 3 years into developing my businesses that I do have, and I have a long way to go. And I've experienced those hurdles. Like you reach a tipping point, and then there's a whole nother level to go to after that. And the first time I learned this lesson was when I was 19 years old, first going through the special operations training in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
We were doing a hike. We had 200 plus pounds of gear on our body, weapons, and we were hiking up this steep ravine, like crazy tall mountain. And all of us at the bottom, we saw the top, and we're all thinking in our heads, all we have to do is make it up there. And sure enough, we get up there. And there's a whole nother mountain to be climbed after that. The instructors were just like, climb to the top. So what we saw at the bottom level what we thought was the top was just the first stepping stone.
Uh-huh.
So we get up there, we're drenched in sweat. Like, it looks like we just jumped out of the shower with our clothes on. That's how sweaty we were.
Okay.
And people got to that first peak and quit. They said, "No, I'm done." And I was one of the few who kept going. I reached that second peak, what I thought was actually the finish, and sure enough, it wasn't.
And there's another.
And there was another one, and that repeated like 6 times. So eventually, I finally made it to the top. I felt like I was nearly going to die. But that is a lesson that I've remembered, and I think about that every time I go through the struggles within business.
But you got the happiness too. I mean, nobody can take away that memory or the things that you learned or the achievement you achieved because you climbed that, right? And you can tell that story and that feeling. And someday if you have children, you can tell that too.
Right.
So
Same thing with you when
Yeah.
you've started building your empire. You had those people who were like, they had the same vision as you. You both saw the same peak, but once you guys got there together, you ended up going beyond.
yeah, but again, that depends on the circumstance and the appetite of each people. Because some has nothing to lose, some has more to lose, some has decisions that you don't know, but the variables are there. So you just have to respect each people. The best thing is you're aligned with people who you climb up with. All right, we're gonna do this, brother, together. All right, you're on. Okay, let's do it. But at least before you do it, you have to be aligned first.
So how do you be aligned? Like, is it a relationship that you develop before you start the climb together, or are you developing that relationship along the way?
You develop it along the way, but the end goal must be talked about at the very beginning. And probably if both of you know the challenges, then that's better. But oftentimes, both of you don't know what the challenges is. So that's just life. You think like it's easy when you climb, right? Then suddenly on your midway or maybe just 10 minutes after you're starting the second climb and you're already tired. But you don't know. But I feel like in our life, there are a lot of things we will tackle on that we don't know. Like you said yourself, you're less than 30 years old, you're not 40. I'm sure when you're 40, there will be new challenges at your 40 that you don't know because it's the first time you're being at 40. But the only way to solve it is talk to 40-year-old people, talk to 50-year-old people because they got your age. They've been there already. Then they know the possible challenges, trials, or circumstance, or the foresight you will be. So I think it's important also for people to talk, persons higher their age, lower their age, and and same age. Same age to know what they're doing. Older than you, so you know what your expectations will be, and then lower than you because you know what's happening around for the younger
Right,
generation.
keeping in touch with
Yeah.
those on a lower level,
Yeah, yeah.
basically. Okay. Now, did you have mentors as you started?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so you
have-
had someone to look up
I have
to.
people older than me that I asked, and some of them sadly went to heaven, passed away. But I believe these older people that helped me, guided me to make my journey faster. I really believe that if you have a goal, you're going to do it. You're going to reach it for sure if you're dedicated. It's just you're going to do it faster and easier if you have a wise guidance or if you have the right path track before you figuring it out. So there.
What type of upbringing did you have? Were your parents successful, or were you the first?
I think they were successful on their own right. I mean, I could say that I've done more than my father, but my father did teach me everything he knows. And I think my father didn't have the dream that I have dreamt. My father was dreaming big also. We were big in Manila. But my dream was to be in global stage rather than just Philippines. But I guess that's natural, you know. I mean, a father and then your son goes to better school, and then of course the son must outperform the father, and then suddenly their grandkids are in the better school, so the grandkids must outperform also the the older generation. I think that's just normal. It's the
Right.
progression of humanity.
Yeah, absolutely. I think every father out there, I myself am a father, and I know you are too. We're
Yeah.
going to get into that in a moment because that's very cool. But I think every father wants to see their children be able to supersede them in
Yes,
some
yes,
way.
supersedes, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure your dad is very proud of you.
I hope so. I try not to disappoint him.
He's still with us, I take it?
Yes, yes,
Okay, very
yeah.
cool. And is he still in the Philippines?
He's still in the Philippines. He visit me sometime. I think he'll fly here also in a month or two. Yeah.
Does he help you run your business?
No, he just guide me on wisdom and make sure that I'm on top of everything, reminds me of some stuff, but he let me make my mistake and he let me correct my mistake too. I feel like he's seeing it as a bonus already. You know, life is a he just likes observing me and seeing what I can do as a happiness, and he stay out of meddling because he knows the right way is for me to learn by myself too.
Right. Now that's super cool that you've superseded your father in some aspects of life, but yet he is still a mentor to you in some ways.
He knows a lot of stuff still. You know, when you're older, you kind of really know the basic principles, and young person, as much as you've seen everything in your less than 30 years of life. And my dad is like 70-year-old already. So there has 70 years experience of time, people, and seeing the character of people, the outcome of this negotiations or this deal. You can't take away wisdom from those. Those are supposed to be taken care of, cherished, and listened to.
Right. Now that's amazing. I like that. So getting more into your businesses. I know there's what, 24, 36 different companies that you have. What are some of the more exciting ones that you'd like to let the audience know exist
Well,
out there?
recently, we have an esports business, and we became champion of world champ. We give honor to the Philippine country. That's nice. So that's exciting. And also, we have a platform business before, and now I'm doing some platform business again, but it's not yet out there. So it's I don't want to talk about it now, but it will soon be in the open once it's completed. And I feel like the better business I'm excited is who has reached, touch millions of audience or millions of users or people. Because I feel like you can influence them, you can make them happy, you can make them proud, you could inspire them. If you win a competition, you inspire them. If you know the secret of how you planned, how the team planned, and then suddenly the result speaks for itself because you became champion. So that kind of gave me a rewarding feeling that, hey, the team did great, the name did great. So it is something that kids can look up to and be inspired, those things.
Right. So is your esports business mainly based in the Philippines or is it worldwide now?
I was trying to expand it outside Philippines, but for now it's in the Philippines and doing competitions in international tournaments. For now, that's how it is. But our dream there is to expand to overseas and to expand to newer titles someday. I
Right.
mean, like I said, everything takes time.
Yeah, of course. So is video game culture pretty big over there?
Yes, in Asia, games are played through cell phone because maybe the purchasing power of Asian countries is not that high compared to first world countries. So here in USA, I noticed that most people are played in televisions and consoles. But in Asia market, most people played in their cell phone. So that's the difference. But we are all gamers in life in some way or another.
Yeah, sometimes I like to picture life as one big video game in a sense, because you get to build your own character, develop yourself, and
That's
build your wallet up, right?
that's actually how I see it. If you see some games like Diablo, you know, you have a character, there's a fog of war, you don't know, and then you encountered NPCs, and then you talk to them, and you have a main mission, you have side quests, you learn something, you gain experience. If you can look at your own life something like that, and that would encourage you to go out. It got encourage you to talk to people and encourage you to learn and see things, which is good.
Right.
You
Now,
know.
you talked about NPCs. I like that because I like to compare most people in life that we encounter are real world NPCs. People don't critically think about their own life.
Yeah.
And the few that are successful in this world, they're the ones that have broken outside of the matrix in a sense. and see things more so from our perspective. So what got you into that mentality?
I think from experience and observing stuff, but bottom line, if you notice, everything in our world was developed by human beings. You know, the cell phone, camera, the systems, the railroads, they're all developed. So everything is possible if people will put their minds into it and work into it. Of course, capital is needed, but there's our establishment for it too. So, and everything also again took time, okay? But everything was developed by human beings. So again, us as a human being, we can improve the society or develop something that will be used by younger generations.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So do you see with all the industries that you're involved in, do you see it as a way to help and improve society?
Yes, we have to. And that's making it worthwhile, just making a stand, because at the end of the day, we're living in a timed life. I mean, you can say 100 years, 200 years, even 1,000 years, but it's still a timed life. After that, you'll expire. So when that happens, you gotta have some legacy to put it out there and for young generations to continue. But that's the beauty of it too. It means it's a constant progression, constant growing, and constant making the humanity better than yesterday for the children.
Right. Now, so you mentioned legacy. I really like that because I myself like to believe that I am building a legacy for my family. Because very few people in my family have done something significant that is going to be remembered throughout history. And I really pride myself on what I've done so far, and I want to do so much more so I can establish that legacy for my bloodline and my name. What do you have in mind for your own legacy?
Well, for my own legacy, I just want to say that I did my best. I helped everyone that I could, and with knowledge, not necessarily with money. I mean, with experience, with stories, with contact, with connections, and I think that's sometimes more important than money itself. And what I learned from my mistakes, if I share them, hopefully thousands, hundred more children will avoid that mistake. And hopefully, I mean, they will make different mistakes, but at least they avoid the mistakes that they learn from my stories. Because building better stuff requires more complicated systems, more different tasks. So it's best that the lessons from the fathers, from our grandfathers, we don't repeat them.
Are you married at all or
I'm single now.
single now?
Yeah.
Married in the past?
I was married in the past, then I got my dissolution papers, so I'm single now.
Okay, congratulations, I hope. So are you back in the dating pool now, or are you going to try to maintain your single status?
The main goal is businesses and to grow. It's not that I'm into dating pool or not into dating pool. I'm open to learning stuff, building relationship, and see where it goes from there. Yeah, but
So you like to prioritize business?
of course, because that's the fruit. It's like I'm a gardener and I need to make plants. So we have harvest, and the fruit you feed it to the people. So let's just say that I still look at myself as a farmer still, and I have to plant businesses, take time, grow them, get the seeds, and spread the seeds again to grow more plants.
Right, that makes sense. So what is currently brewing in your portfolio of businesses right now? What's the most exciting project you got going on?
Well, we have unfinished developing realty construction in Panama. We have a tech platform that's about to come out, but somewhere in December 2024. Other than that, I keep the objectives lean because they say if you have more than 3, you're doing too much. So the companies that I told you that I have business heads that runs them. But so far, we're just developing 2, 3 businesses
Okay,
at a time.
at a time.
Yeah.
And how long typically would you say you average to fully scale a business to the point where you can move on to the next thing?
Well, if they can stand by themselves, I see them stable, then I can say, okay, like we can put resource again to another business. But so far, uh, it takes 5 years, 3 years now to be stable. Before, because I put money on people that have systems already sometimes. For example, Tim Horton Coffee Shop. It's a franchisee, so it has a system already. So that one is not considered my own business because it's a franchise system already. But it's our business, or I'm part owner of it. But I didn't need to study the system because the system's in place. But normally, what I'm saying is I'm doing a new business with new systems. I only make sure that it's up to 3 only, because it's 4 and 5 would be too much.
Right. Now that totally makes sense. Now the one company that you showed me on the computer over there, the watch company, that was very intriguing. Would you mind talking about that a little bit?
Oh, that's a Vanguard watch. So I invested in that. We're part owner of it. It's the first watch that the hand that it's the face, the cylinder is the circle. I forgot the term. It's in the tip of my tongue, but it's the one that moves and the hand doesn't move. So it's a tourbillon. So it's a that's a business in Switzerland, our factory there.
Okay, very
Yeah.
cool. And what's like the style of watches that you're manufacturing over there? Are they everyday use watches for the regular person? Is it like, more exclusive high-end style watch company?
They're supposed to be for everyday watch, because it's it's the thing, you want watch that can be worn every day so people can use it.
Right. What price points are we looking at for those watches?
That is, I think, 200 to 300K USD watch.
Okay, wow. So yeah, definitely not meant for like the regular person. Like, obviously someone who's successful is kind of the,
Yeah, everything's handmade.
Yeah.
Everything, every part was handmade. So yes.
that's very cool.
Yeah.
How would you compare the watches made from that company in comparison to Rolex
Oh.
or maybe Patek?
It's the same, because they're the engineers also of uh, good brand like AP, and they came out and they make another company, and then they made this watch. So the engineers of the Rolex, AP, and Patek, they're the same group of people also who
Okay.
planned and designed this.
Oh, very cool. So you actually know some of the engineers down there? Have
Yeah,
you
yeah,
met
yeah.
them?
It's their business actually. They reach out to me and they pitch it to me. I actually flew in there and I actually tested them.
Nice.
And my because I don't know anything about watchmaking, but I know person. So that story, when I tested them, because I wouldn't know, right? Because they were pitching and they're not from Manila. So I asked really easy, dumb questions just to see if they will be angry.
Okay, like
Right.
what?
Like easy questions. Easy questions that I'm supposed to know, but I still ask it because I want to see how patient they are. And they were really patient. So after that, I said it's a good character. So I invested in them.
Okay, so they're pitching you to secure funds
Yes.
to help the company grow,
Yeah.
and you're essentially shit testing them in a sense.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
My hat now is, aside from I'm a father and a son of my father and mother, I'm an angel investor. So I feel like if a company is supposed to start and they talk to me, I can know how to guide them to make sure that this is the early stage and this is how you do it. And I have a high success rate on things that I invest in.
So what are the factors that make you decide on who to invest in?
Oh, I I test people when I see that they're focused and dedicated and committed. So from there, I would invest in them. But it would take a lot of time or some time for me to observe them, because I would put them in different situations. I would observe them for a certain time, how their manners, if they would, what their attributes are, how they act in a certain way, how they speak. And then from there, I would be able to analyze if they're doing what they're supposed to do in their business if they're committed. If they say one thing and they do other thing, then I kind of know that they're like fooling around or they're not dedicated to such goals.
Right.
When I see them dedicated and see them focused, then I put resources in them because I kind of know that that's the requirement first to be a leader, to be successful, is to be dedicated and committed.
Right. So in a sense, you're not only investing into a business, you're investing into an individual.
Always in the individual. It's not in the business. Business can be anything under the sun as long as you're happy doing it and you believe in it, it will become successful. If you see our world, there are successful, pet businesses or school businesses or even somebody that makes a pencil in their business or paint in their business, but that's their passion. And you can see that they studied all kinds of paint. That's why they know the paint business. And for some technology stuff, they know the software, they know this, and they speak it. So when you really see a person that's there living and breathing it, and they're focused and committed, most probably that person will be a good leader and a business owner or business head for that said unit because that piece, that's what's his life passion and that is what's life doing.
So I'll move on to the next question then.
Okay.
Now, a lot of business gurus in the online space, you see two different types.
Okay.
You see those who talk about people who want to become big need to find their passion and pursue their passion. But then on the other hand, you have people who say it doesn't matter what your passion is, as long as it's something that can make money, you can scale it and you can become successful. So I'm curious as to what your take is on that perspective.
Well, because there's a need. There are times that you want to do it because it's needed, okay? And even it's not your passion, but it's what you know and it's needed, then you do it. But my take to it is if you want to be really the leader in your industry, it's not need, it's passion.
Right.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
to complete the picture there is you can do because even if it's not your passion, but you can make money out of it because you need it, yeah, you'll make money out of it. But you will not be the best there. You will not be the greatest there because the best and the greatest on what they're doing, they love it.
That's a very interesting perspective. Thank you
Yeah.
for that. Now, when it comes to hurdles, we had touched on this a little bit earlier. What are some major hurdles that you faced in your life?
Well, hurdles I face in my life now is because we're doing a technology business, so there's a lot of changes in AI, in software, in programming, and also in getting people that knows to be aligned in your group, especially if you're doing something big. So right now, these are my hurdles. But I got my own team that deals with it. But that's the hurdles now. I actually have a story for it. So most times the hurdles you wouldn't know, but because you're a good person and you're doing good things, I think there's still an invisible hand or a higher being that blesses or protect you. So one recently story is like I have an organization who did quite well in securing a property, and the bank was supposed to get them, but we have an in time to catch up with the payments for securing the land, and the lawyer that time says, no, it's stopped. We're gonna get your land, right? But there was the buyer of that land who will doing the sales, and we talked to the owner of the bank, and the owner of the bank, which I didn't know that he knows the owner of the bank, and the owner of the bank suddenly called down his boss, because he's a lower associate, and then told him like angrily, we don't need the land, we need the money. So do your fucking job and get the money, and using whatever business transaction there is. But to me, I feel like the lawyer was doing something in his power for the land to be gotten from me. You understand? And I feel like I was powerless there because it's not in my influence already because they're the lawyers. But I feel like because we're a good person and there was a hidden protector of some well higher being that blesses you. So I was protected, and suddenly the deal was made, and now we will get the sale and we will secure that sale. And the deal that I want to happen will be happening in our favor. Another story is from the platform business. So we need to have a partner bank. And we talked to 4 different partner banks, and they all said no. Of course, at that time, I'm in a new place. 4 banks said no for a business partnership. And you feel like disheartened because you're going to banks, different brands, and they said no. And then the fake bank brand was the largest bank, and they said yes. Now it occurred to me that if they said no, we wouldn't partner with the bigger bank. And now it also understand that it wasn't a good fit. They were too small because what we need was a bigger bank, or the biggest bank actually that partnered with us in this endeavor that we're doing. So I feel like in life, you just have to do what you have to do. And if things happen not your way, it's because it's protecting you or because it wasn't the right fit. But as long as you're dedicated and focused to your goal, you will see the door open, and it's the right door
I like that.
in proper time.
Yeah, I really like that. Transition that into talking about the false allegations.
Okay. So that one, I also don't know why that happened to me. It feels unfair, and it was one of my lowest point in life because I was actually wanting to be doing good always. But life sometimes it will not work out to what you want. It will work out to some higher power of what's going to happen for a purpose of probably using you as a tool for many people to learn or younger people to learn. So I feel like my accusation to me, I was used for the lessons of other people. I don't know what, but I gone through it, and I cleared my name. Eventually, I stick by the law, and then the resolution was there. It was all dismissed, but it was unfair. But there's also a reason behind it because it made me open my mind also to that kind of world of legal stuff. Because when I was in business, so I was doing business, sales, marketing, and I didn't really, in a way, handle that stuff until it occurs. Though, so I thought that I have a weak legal team. And then now that it happened to me, now I feel like I have a very strong legal team. And every time I do business now, legal legal team is what I really, really make sure that everything checks out first.
Right. Yeah. Most people out in the world, especially like here in America, because we're so, I like to say, brainwashed into thinking that we have the most fair and just legal system in the entire world. Everyone always says, oh, yeah, America's the best country because, you're innocent until proven guilty. But in reality, it's just not the case. Like, if anything, I would argue that just the way it's structured, you're guilty until proven innocent in a sense, because all it takes is someone to make one false allegation and you're sucked into the legal system at that point.
Yeah, I hope this changes. I hope if somebody is listening to this, somebody in the media, in the Writers Guild, or whatever is listening to this, I feel like we have to be responsible on what we write because we don't know. Sometimes you're destroying a person and you don't know the person who's dependent on it. They have kids, they have families, and it destroys their life. So I think we should have also, as a reader also, we should read that if it's case or being fought off first, but not yet conclusionized, there's no conclusion yet, don't believe it yet, or just probably don't write about it. But if the case was there and then suddenly the judgment was handled and then the result was there, then write it.
Right. Well, even in cases where, some, like you can see with former President Donald Trump in the news headlines recently. Like they're just throwing every single allegation you could possibly think of at this man, right? And you look into some of the legal documents that have been presented in those cases, and you can tell it's just full of BS. But yet he's gotten guilty verdicts, right? And there's a lot of other people out there in the world, especially here in the USA, who've experienced something similar. Like a BS case comes their way, like zero evidence, but yet can still end up finding a guilty verdict. So I think that's another important thing for people to understand too, is even when you get through everything, when you're pronounced guilty, sometimes you're still not guilty too. And I think that's an utter shame that people have to go through that. Like myself, I've been accused of false allegations too. I had an ex-wife who tried to ruin my military career and tried to ruin pretty much every single business that had some type of social media, right? So even till this day, I battle false allegations from her because she just wants to try to give me a hard time. She wants to get more child support, but I go through the ringer, right? The first time a false allegation was made, it took me 3 years to clear my name. And I spent tens of thousands of dollars on attorneys. My reputation was harmed, and it was a terrible feeling. I've known a lot of people who have gone through some type of false allegation who ended up like hurting themselves and in some cases even committed suicide, which is utterly devastating. It is terrible. So I completely feel for you with what you had to experience going through those allegations. And, you know, I applaud you for being able to talk about it on this podcast because I think it can help a lot of people.
It made me wiser, and it made me more mature, and I can say that I've grown a lot also with that experience, and that's a unique experience, but it's something that you wouldn't wish to anyone.
Yeah, it's terrible, especially like if you're in the public eye, like yourself, like you've had a lot of media attention, you've had some nasty articles written about you. How did you deal with that mentally?
Oh, well, at first it was new to me, so I was, say, confused, or I don't know what the right thing to do, and then I get calls from people who giving me counsel because they have more experience, some from lawyers, some from justices, and they told me that this is the right thing to do, this is normal, this is what's going to happen, this is the timeline. So I kind of make it flow to me and kind of like relax and believe them because they gone through it. They were the veterans or experience in them. And with their guidance and support, I passed through it, and I called to them when once they, hey, you're right. It is what you said, and it's what happened too. But I was lucky enough that there are people guiding me. Now, in return that I experienced it, I share this because if you're misguided or unguided, at least you know people who've gone through this, like James, and maybe someday you can ask him about his experience, and maybe his experience can enlighten if you're going through it. But I really hope that the society will stop, you know, passing judgment or writing articles that are not yet really proven.
Right. No, I 100% agree with that. And I think the unfortunate reality with the way the world is today, especially with our political climate, the legal system, if you're a person of any type of success or fame, I think it's only a matter of time before you do find yourself in the crosshairs of some type of
Yes,
allegation.
yes.
So I do think it's very fair to expect when you're in that type of position, but even more so amongst the common person, especially for men in particular, here in the West, the way the legal system's structured, it's very favorable towards women. So you see a lot of issues with men's mental health and men's suicide rates in this country because of those systems, because of false allegations. And it's a utter travesty, really. So yeah, again, thank you for talking about that
Okay.
subject. So looking on to a better and brighter future for yourself, I would like to discuss the foundation you've established as well as the footprint you're currently leaving in the global marketplace.
Yeah, a lot of people helped me, educated me, and I got to where I am because of all the guidance, of all the wisdom that I got. So I feel like in our world, there's so many people who cannot afford education. So I started my own education foundation called Brent Seed Foundation to help people educate, to give back to those people who needs, because I was guided and I was helped before by someone, and now I feel like I'm being blessed and able to bless people. I want to give back to the children or to individuals that needs help also. So if I can help them, they become better person and make our society better by education.
That's amazing. So is this a U.S. based
Yes.
company? Okay, so like a 501c3?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and what's the reach with that company? Are you helping people in the U.S., worldwide?
We're gonna help everyone that we can. It's just starting for now. Yeah.
It's just starting. Okay, so where's it starting at? Is it starting here
In
U.S.?
USA.
Okay,
Yeah, in Los
okay.
Angeles.
Oh, okay. So that's why you're out here in
Yes,
Beverly
yes,
Hills
yes.
then.
That's like
Makes
my hat too.
sense.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. And then as far as like everything that you have together, what's pressing on you right now? What's keeping you out here in LA?
Well, like I said, the main goal is the business, the major business, of course, the foundation also, but the kids too. I'm waiting my kids to finish school. Hopefully, they have their own project. Hopefully, I could guide them. I'm just living my life and helping who I can help or teaching who I can teach, spend time who I can spend time with.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you really enjoy your life with everything you got going on.
Yes.
I like it. Cool. So final thing I wanted to ask you is if you had to give a piece of advice to the everyday person who may be watching this on how to become successful and leave their mark on this earth, what would you tell them?
Surround yourself with good people. Be explorative on territories, on people, and ask for guidance on things that you don't know. Easy. Don't, if you're trying to figure it out yourself, but somebody already know it, try to reach out to those contacts or information and try to absorb it rather than redoing what's already known. Those things should be enough, and be focused on what you want.
I like it. Well, sir, thank you so much for hosting me here in your
All right,
beautiful
thank you
home
too.
in Beverly Hills.
Okay.
And guys, thank you for tuning in to the JD Show. This has been another Mastermind Monday episode. If you like what you saw, please be sure to hit the subscribe button, like, share, leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And with that being said, we'll see you guys on the next episode.